What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sacred Jedi Texts. We are continuing on with our abridged version of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, and today we will be going over Chapter 27. If you need to catch up, I'll have the playlist at the top of the video right here. You can go ahead and click on it. We're going to be catching up with Thrawn and Pellaeon and how they're preparing for the Sluis Vaughn attack, and then we even get a little appearance from Wedge in this chapter. It's a shorter chapter, but it's necessary to set up the rest of this book and what is to come. So let's jump on into it. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video. And once it's over, leave a comment on what you think is going to happen next. So Chapter 27 starts out in Captain Pellaeon's point of view. He and Thrawn are on the Chimera making their final preparations for their attack on the Sluis Vaughn shipyards. Here at the beginning of the chapter, they are looking out one of the Chimera's windows at a battered A-class bulk freighter when Thrawn tells Pellaeon that the ship looks good and that they can run the test on it whenever they are ready. However, Pellaeon says that his techs are having some issues with the cloaking shield's tuning, that they are trying to get it fixed. Pellaeon is worried. He doesn't know if this cloaking tech that they got from Sabaoth on Wayland will work for them, and he is especially worried at how Thrawn will react if it ends up being finicky. However, Thrawn says that there's plenty of time for the techs to get it figured out, and asks if they have had any word from Merker regarding Card's prisoner and the stormtroopers at Hilliard City. Pellaeon says that the last report came in 2 hours ago and it was still negative. Thrawn then asks about the latest count from the Sluis Vaughn shipyards, and Pellaeon tells him that there are 112 transient warships in total, with 65 of them as cargo carriers. Thrawn is pleased by this and says with 65 different possibilities, they will get to pick and choose which ones they take. But Thrawn can tell that something is worrying Pellaeon, so he asks him about it. Pellaeon says that he doesn't like the idea of sending their men into Sluis Vaughn with no communications, and Thrawn reminds him that that's exactly how a cloaking shield is supposed to work. And then Pellaeon admits that he wonders if they should use Sabaoth on this mission. Thrawn says that they don't need Sabaoth, that careful timing will be just fine for them to run a successful operation. Very gutsy move from Pellaeon here, but he actually verbally disagrees with Thrawn, and says that they don't know how long it's going to take to get clearance from the Sluis Control Center, but Thrawn says that he has studied the Sluisi and that everything's going to be fine. But Pellaeon pushes back again, but Thrawn reassures him that he knows what he is doing and that he has thought everything out and that it's all going to work. Thrawn then tells Pellaeon that they can't use Sabaoth too much or too often. They can't risk giving Sabaoth too much power. Pellaeon says that Sabaoth doesn't want power, and Thrawn says that he is lying, that all men want power and that the more they get, the more they want. Pellaeon then suggests that they just kill Sabaoth, and then Thrawn tells Pellaeon that they will be able to quench his thirst for power, and then he will be no longer a threat to the Empire. They will do this by giving him Leia and her twins. Thrawn then says that when he has them, the Empire's missions and motivations will be mere distractions to what Sabaoth truly wants, and that they won't have to worry about him or worry about him interfering or anything like that. Pellaeon then says that that will only happen if the Nagri are able to connect with Leia, and Thrawn says that they will, that she and her protectors will eventually run out of tricks way before the Empire runs out of Nagri. Pellaeon then says that the cloaking tech is ready, and Thrawn says they can fire it up. Pellaeon instructs the crew to activate the cloaking shield, and it works like a charm. He and Thrawn are very pleased. Thrawn congratulates Pellaeon and the technicians, and Pellaeon then asks if they have the go-ahead to start their attack on Sluis Vaughn, and Thrawn says yes. The shipyards are practically theirs now. The point of view then switches over to Wedge Antilles for the rest of the chapter. Wedge has just found out that he has been assigned to escort duty. He is to lead an escort team to ride alongside a cargo shipment to where? You guessed it, Sluis Vaughn. Wedge is telling the dispatcher that there's no reason for them to go on this mission, that there's really no point, and that Sluis Vaughn is pretty far away, that they will be away from Coruscant for a good while. Wedge thinks to himself that they will have to go all the way to Sluis Vaughn, wait for the convoy to assemble there, and only then will it be ready to go to Vash, and they'll have to escort the cargo to Vash too, so this is a pretty big operation, pretty lengthy. The dispatcher tells Wedge that he should be grateful to be away from Coruscant, that something big seems like it's getting ready to happen regarding Thalia and his people. Wedge asks if they are planning a coup, and this makes the dispatcher mad. He is obviously a fan of Thalia. The dispatcher then talks about how Akbar has lost his touch, and that Thalia is the only one who truly cares about the welfare of the people. And I want to know what you all think, so make sure to leave a comment. Do you think Thalia does have the best interest of the people in mind, or if this is all something that he's putting together to just bring himself into power? Back to the story, Wedge then thinks for a minute and tells himself that a little vacation away from Coruscant might not be that bad, and that a quiet little run to Sluis Vaughn and Vash will be just the right thing to get his mind right. Little does he know, right? He then says that if they were to run into some Imperials on the way, then that will at least give him something worth fighting for. So that is already the end of chapter 27. Like I said, very short chapter, but very necessary to set up the rest of this book. We see that the Empire is now ready to launch their attack on Sluis Vaughn, and we get some indication that the New Republic will have a little bit of force there as well to combat the Empire. So it's a nice little setup for what is to come in the final chapters. And in the next video, we will be obviously going into chapter 28, but there's only a few chapters left. So we're about done with this book. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Like I said, make sure to leave a comment on what you think is going to happen. Make sure that you're subscribed, leave a like on the video, and as always, keep reading Star Wars.